Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goodell Multiverse. We're right now going to do our segment of News of the Week, the Multiverse Minute, even if it's 45 minutes, which sometimes tends to be, which is fine. But we're going to jump right into this guy and see what we can do for some news. Sammy, did you want to start it out? Is
Sure.
that how we were doing it?
Yep, I'm going to start it out, guys. So the first thing on our news for the week is Marvel management maneuvers. So longtime Marvel veteran Brad Winderbaum takes on an expanded role overseeing Marvel television, animation, comics, and franchise as Disney executive David Abdu, I'm not sure,
Close
Abdu,
enough. Yeah.
joins Marvel as general manager, comics, and franchiser.
Mm.
So the bigger picture for this, and I printed out the article. This is exactly from Marvel.com. It's their
Ooh.
exact website, so we
As
know.
official as you get.
Yeah, this is them doing their press release and all that, so we get to understand what this means. Because a lot of the times, guys, when we're watching the movies or the shows or even reading the comics, we don't think about so much of the behind the scenes, who's managing and controlling what, who's greenlighting this project, who's writing this project, and all that stuff. So this is definitely something that definitely is newsworthy. I think it came out within this past couple weeks, but we've had so much with the news, guys, that we've just been adding it on when we could get to it. So I'll read to you a little bit of what it says on here, and then we're going to react to it and give our 2 cents. So, this was dated May 18th, so it is pretty recent. It's within the past 10 days. Marvel announced new leadership overseeing its comics and franchise teams, naming Marvel Studios executive Brad Winderbaum as head of Marvel television, animation, comics, and franchise. He will oversee the creative direction of Marvel's expansive publishing portfolio, as well as Marvel's global brand and franchise. In addition to his current role overseeing already the television and animation. Let's see on here. Kevin Feige states that Brad brings a proven ability to lead creative teams and craft ongoing episodic narratives that resonate with our fans around the world, while David offers a strong track record on operational experience and strategic growth. I'm excited for what they are able to do together. So, Brad Winderbaum is an Emmy award-winning head of Marvel television and animation. He's oversaw Marvel's diverse slate of live-action and animated series on Disney Plus in particular. He has served as the executive producer on all Marvel Studios shows, including Hawkeye, Loki Season 2, Agatha All Along, Daredevil Born Again, X-Men 97, and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Winderbaum joined Marvel Studios during the production of the company's first theatrical film, Iron Man, in 2008, going on to become an executive producer from Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow, or on Thor Ragnarok and the Black Widow movie. It says here that the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, C.B. Sobolski, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, sir, he will report directly now to Winderbaum. So, let's see. David Abdo is a strategic and results-focused executive with digital experience and 20-plus years of leadership experience transforming and building media businesses. He was the most recent general manager to the Disney Music Group, responsible to the day-to-day management of Disney's global music division. He expanded that role. Other than that, that's the main thing. There's a little bit of a shakeup for that there. And from my understanding from some of the online things that people have said and talked about, is that he's taking on some of the duties that Kevin Feige used to have. And then now with Kevin Feige, from my understanding, he knew he was spreading himself too thin between the Disney Plus projects and the MCU theatrical movies, that he has appointed Brad in particular to be the Disney Plus guy. So Kevin can focus on the films themselves like he used to before Disney Plus. That's the main consensus about this new shift in management. So, Ike, what are your thoughts on this?
So I got a bunch of little thoughts. I think any kind of shift in management with things, guys, is pretty normal in these big companies like this. I think there's a lot to this. Part of it is I do think Feige is looking that it's not going to be in the near future, but it will be in the closer future than we can imagine of him stepping down and being done with his job that he's doing. I don't think it's anytime soon, and I don't think it's necessarily these guys that will be in that place for that, but I think he's starting at the bottom. When I say bottom, I think he's restructuring everything and getting it ready, so when he does decide, "I'm done and I'm out of here," he feels like he's left it in the right hands. Now, I might argue that given in my opinion, I guess it's an opinion thing. I guess the other thought I have is the opinion part of it for me. Um, I don't think they've handled their Disney Plus shows for Marvel very well. So when I see the guy that's been kind of doing it as well, get promoted, makes me wonder, but does he know what's wrong? But that might be because I don't know, guys. I mean, say in the comments, and maybe you can tell me, would you consider that Disney Plus Team Marvel shows have been a success? Or do you think it's been more of a, yeah, it's not quite working? I wouldn't call it a failure, you know, but I wouldn't call it the success that what I think they thought they saw in the beginning. What I agree with, though, for sure, is Kevin can't do both
Mhm.
for two reasons. One reason is that's one guy, and I would like them to really make sure these movies hit good
Mhm.
because that's your bread and butter. Because no matter what doesn't work, guys, if these movies stay good, you're still going to make the money.
Yeah.
That's where it counts the most for me. But the other thing is if the Disney Plus Marvel shows are not going to be tied into the movies, then it's good to have someone separate doing them because then they can feel very different.
Mhm.
I'm going to bring this up later when we talk about something else, by the way. But so pay attention, Disney Plus
Mm.
Marvel guys. But I do think also Feige is looking to be out of this. I would honestly say he wants to be out of, not that he has a reason to really leave, but I think he's just been satisfied. I think he's going to usher in the new era of X-Men and he's out.
Mm.
I think we're going to get to the next Avengers movie after Avengers Infinity War or Infinity War. My gosh. Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the end of his reign of being in charge. And I think he's just leaving these guys with what they're now. The David Abdu part, I think that's so low management on certain things. I don't think most of us would even know what his job is.
I
You know what
only
I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah.
in the long run, I think as long as someone's competent and has been there for a while and knows what they're doing, this guy's just got a lot to prove. We might see his name later on in the future, moving up the ranks, you know?
Yeah.
This other guy, though, Brad Winderbaum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, has the conversation been had with him that, hey, look, it's been a success, but you got to fix this because it's not, it won't stay a success. If we keep getting the same kind of shows we get, it's not going to stay a success. You know, not that all of them are bad. I mean, hell, we got a trailer for one of them tonight that we're going to talk about that looks great, but but it's clearly not part of the MCU. So, like, I think that that's the question I have is what's this mean when it talks creatively? What does it mean? Because I think they're all competent. I think they're all going to do a great job. And I think these guys have kind of been doing some of this already. But this does show me that Feige's really letting go of the reins when it comes down to Disney Plus. Now, is he doing that because I don't want the backlash of a failing? Or is he doing this because I am going to make it where I stick with the movies? So when I retire on like a high. Like he wants to walk out with an Avengers Endgame feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I were him, I'd want that too. So I don't know. How do you feel about it, Sam?
All right. So, and by the way, guys, we are not insiders. These are all of our comments, speculations,
we have-
opinions, things like that. So don't take
Yeah.
whatever I'm going to say or whatever Ike says as like, oh, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what my optimistic viewpoint is on this whole thing, to be honest. So, to answer your question on how I think the Disney Plus shows have been for Marvel, I don't want to say failure, but there's part of me that wants to say there have been a lot of very bad shows that are unnecessary shows, or maybe and one of the reasons why is because some of these shows were expected to know to watch the movies. So this is how I believe. I'll start from the very beginning, guys. I think, like Kevin Feige said, what his original intention was for Disney Plus, was going to be what this is.
Mm.
I think that with the change of the Disney CEO leadership and the push on everyone that we've talked about on the podcast before, guys, of more content, quantity versus quality, and utilize Disney Plus to make it like a behemoth overnight almost. I think that Kevin had no choice. He wasn't given the free reins he was able to do before to make a management structure like this. And I think with that CEO being gone, the old CEO coming back to fix all the things that happened during his 3 years of not being there, and then now a new CEO that's completely taken over, that, from my understanding, is just continuing on with the old CEO. Trying to say this without saying any names, guys, but you get the picture here. One guy, let him do whatever he could do and make it successful. That's how we got MCU to be amazing. And then he retired. Someone else came in and decided, let's change things up. And it was disastrous. And Kevin Feige didn't have much of a choice in it. And then it was so bad that guy left. They brought in the old guy. He's like, I'm going to fix this and make it back to what I had it before, at least as close as possible. But I'm still going to retire. And then he eventually did retire. And they got a whole new person in there that seems like he's picking up that mindset of that latest guy, which is good for Kevin Feige and for the future of Marvel, to be honest. So I think that there was those type of circumstances that made it where how Kevin envisioned Disney Plus to be, he couldn't do it the way he wanted to do it because it was a more type thing. And they wanted to connect to the movies because therefore it would almost force us to watch the shows in order to watch the movies. It's very bad. It really is very bad. But at the same time, I get their reason for it. If they want their subscribers to go up and the guarantee you're going to get them, you have to make sure that Ms. Marvel was part of it or all these other characters are part of it. And you had to know them to watch the movie. You had to watch WandaVision to see Doctor Strange 2, whereas that's not the original intent of the whole thing, but that's what happened. And so it made people like us, that are fans, have to watch it as opposed to we could watch it. I think we're going to go back to the original intent, and I think this is part of it. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to blame Brad for some of the failures that I feel were kind of failures or letdowns in the Disney Plus side of the MCU. Because I think he was under the same directives that Kevin Feige was. But now they have free range. And now Kevin's like, I value you. You've been with me since the first Iron Man movie in some capacity. And then you took on a more of a leadership role when Thor Ragnarok came, when the Black Widow movie came. And so I'm going to promote you because you've been loyal, you've been good, and you are having some success. Some of these shows that were mentioned, like X-Men 97, Daredevil Born Again, they have been successes. Some of them may not have been as successful as the others, but that's what you get with TV, especially when you're managing all these different types of TV, you know? I think we're going to get better quality of TV shows. I think we're going to get less shows, but I think that's designed for a reason.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on all the past stuff and be optimistic and say, you know what? He might be great. What worries me are the little comments like, She-Hulk was the greatest we've done. Be like, hold on. But at the same time, maybe I'll hear him out to see what She-Hulk's going to look like in a new version if they continue her. I don't think she's going to continue as a TV show. I think they're going to bring her into the MCU and just leave it at that. But I digress.
I will keep your optimism and stay with it like that too, because I want it to be a success. The last thing I want is to see this Marvel train that we're on, that we've been on for 20 something years, right?
Yeah.
Go down because of this stupid TV show idea.
Yeah.
I never was a big fan of it to begin with. I understand that in the world of comic books, why not have that branching stuff? That's cool. But to be honest with you, their most successful way of doing it is these TV shows and these movies need to have nothing to do with each other. Like not a thing. And then you can give us just wild, fun TV shows.
Yeah.
Then there's no ropes or anything tying you down to either one of them.
Yeah.
You could do a story with Iron Man in this and not care and do whatever you want to do. And you're not tying yourself to what we did in the greater MCU. And then vice versa. We're not going to be wondering where Vision's going to show up And is anyone even going to know White Vision when he does show up? Did people see it? Do they remember it? It's like, I don't want that. That's the mess I want to go away. But I want the shows to keep coming. I want better shows. But I think that they just weren't. I really got to tell you, I'm with you. It was definitely a money grab. It was a how many people can we get to do this? And the truth of the matter is they lied to us blatantly about it. And maybe not on purpose in the sense of like mean, but I got to tell you, when you say, you don't got to watch, don't worry about the shows, watch them because it's going to be fun, but you don't gotta. You're wrong. You're just dead wrong. That's not, you needed to, because if I didn't know the context of some of them, we'd have bigger issues with some of the movies.
That's true.
We already do with one of them for sure because of it.
Yes.
A big one. Not so much Doctor Strange, but that Marvel, last Ms. Marvel one. And then the Marvels.
If you didn't
see the show, that movie makes no sense to you.
Which I know some people like John Campia love Ms. Marvel show. Good for you. It was something that they made that was great for you. But for some of us, it was not made for us.
Right.
You can tell it was made for like the people that liked Riverdale and the people that liked Pretty Little Liars, maybe not with all that edge, but you get is that type of genre, which is fine. And MCU or Marvel Comics has a variety of stuff. The problem was you had to know that in order to know the movie, and that's where the disconnect was very evident. You're right,
because most of your money is coming from people that might not be watching these shows.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing, that they've built up their audience based off the movies, and you don't want superhero fatigue. You only have 2 or 3 movies a year. No one's going to get fatigued when it comes to that type of stuff, but we will get fatigued if we have to watch like an 8-episode Vision Quest show, and then immediately, like the schedule is right now, is Doomsday, and if Vision's going to be in it. You have now made more homework. I know this is your last show. You said you're doing it, whatever. But still, it's there.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want.
And I'm in this space of people that like being around the Marvel stuff, that will watch the shows. But I'll tell you, if Landman is on while Vision Quest is on, I'm watching Landman first because that's better TV. So if you are going to make these shows, step it up. Because TV's kicking your butt in other places for people like me. That's just me, guys. Like it's not everybody, but you during the Yellowstone days, you'd never see. I'll watch the Marvel stuff when this is done.
Yeah, unless you make the Marvel stuff compete with that.
Could you imagine if they were trying to compete with Game of Thrones right now? Get out of here. If this was Game of Thrones season 4 and they're throwing a bunch of Marvel stuff out there, it would have been a failure. Because everybody and their mother was watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And they're going to watch that first, and I wouldn't blame them. It's better, but you don't got to be better than them, but give us some more. That's why I'm tough on the shows. That's why I was tough on Daredevil and all. It's fun, it's cool and everything, but what are you doing that other shows, do you need to take my attention away from great television right now? We live in an age where television's big. So not to get too far into that, guys, we'll talk more about that, but with this move and stuff, I'm optimistic though. Let's see how it goes. I like that Feige's going to focus on the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he does, they tend to be better. And I think that that's what we want. I think he does see the mistakes that's been made. And obviously we're in the middle of a correction. Let's hope the correction lands. And if it does, then his next big step is X-Men. And then we'll go from there. And if he could just focus on that, then I got a lot of faith in that because he was part of the original too.
Yeah, and I'm only going to throw 2 more things out there so we can move on and keep going, guys. But I'm going to touch upon the David Abdu thing. That's strictly a Disney thing. Honestly, Disney is the parent company of Marvel Studios. This is general management of Marvel. And obviously this guy has no background when it comes to Marvel, but he does with music and global media and things like that. So I think this is simply a Disney guy that's saying, hey, we're the parents, we're still here with you guys. And it's just one of those mandrel things. It's not someone that's going to oversee Kevin Feige. Disney's made that clear. You are in charge of Marvel. But this is more like the liaison between Disney and
Let's hope that's honest too, because I'll be honest with you, Disney's kind of a.
They can be overreaching.
They're kind of a bully.
Yeah. No. That's very true.
I don't want their bureaucratic bullcrap of whatever's going on the inside and all that to get in the way of our entertainment.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that when we get into our room meal rundown with one of the topics we got, guys. But the only other thing I'll say is I don't think you are right when it comes to Kevin Feige. I agree. Let me clarify. Everything you said about him is right. His retirement part is where I'm getting at.
You think he'll do this till he's 90?
I don't know if this is. See, I think if Phase 4, 5, and 6 were a success as 1, 2, and 3 was, he would have retired by the end of Secret Wars. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
Yes, because it was a proven track record continuously going. I predict he is going to be here 7, 8, and 9 and retire by Phase 10. Because he's going to want to see this machine get back to the prime days that they had them before. There's already rumor that he's been talking to the Russo brothers about doing whatever the next Avengers level movie would be after Secret Wars. And it sounds like, if that's just a rumor, guys, but if that's the mindset that's out there, the industry talk within the company type thing, then that says to me he's sticking around a little longer because he wants to make sure he leaves a good taste in people's mouths when he does say bye-bye.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised he becomes the Stan Lee cameo for like Phase 9 and 10.
I think that's definitely in the future. I think that's in the future too. I think he's going to be big and he's going to be known. I think he'll be second most well-known. In 50 years from now, he'll be second most well-known name to Marvel next to Stan Lee. I think that for sure.
He already is up there.
Yeah, he's already up there, but I think definitely like the mention of him is just going to be automatic. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. I do think it's going to be longer than like maybe I made it sound. I do think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know about going all the way to 10, but I definitely do think he was going to stick it out till at least X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
Because he really was passionate about wanting to be around for the X-Men stuff. It was a few years ago when he brought the X-Men up, and you could tell that
he was excited. He was like, "We're getting to mutants." He was ready.
And he said it in interviews that he wishes he could, and so I think that for sure he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah.
I really think that if X-Men is the first project after Secret Wars, which it sounds like it may be, I think that will be the time when we could revisit this conversation on his future with the MCU.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if the Russos smash it out of the park with Doomsday and Secret Wars, we might as well just make them the de facto Avengers making movies.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you want your big ensemble movie?
They make 4.
It's them.
Say they hit them all 100%, great. That's going to be 4 great Marvel movies of the best, then you need to just back the truck up and say, okay, guys. And just let them be that,
Do it. Let them be it. Exactly.
Yeah. And then I would never let anyone do anything Captain America again unless it was them too.
Oh my gosh, yes. All right, well, guys, let us know in the comments below what you think of this. Do you think that this Marvel management shakeup that they're doing is going to work? Do you agree with Ike's statements and my statements, or do you disagree? Let us know in the comments below. All right, Ike, take it away for our next topic.
All right, guys, this one was a quick add-on, so I'm kind of ad-libbing it here, but it's some more Spider-Man news, which is good. And you know what? It's no more trailers. All right, so, because I don't want to see any more, really, to be honest with you. I will for the show here, but I just want to see the movie at this point. But there is Empire Magazine has this nice little write-up about it with some new images, and stuff that you're going to see, guys, in the promotional coming out as it's getting closer. But there's a couple of neat little tidbits in this that they talked about. The new Spider-Man Brand New Day images, as Marvel says, it's the first real Spidey movie. That's interesting. Quote unquote, it is the first Spider-Man film that we've made in the MCU that is focused on the classic elements of Spider-Man, Feige tells Empire. Quote unquote, he's doing the Spidey thing of living a rather sad, small apartment, listening to the police scanner, and going out and using his great power of responsibility. Now, the second part of this news is Tom Holland also says he might be planning his way out. He says, this is what Tom says, for whoever's next, whether that is Miles Morales or a Spider-Gwen or a Spider-Woman or something like that, I would love to be a part of setting up the next chapter. Holland says, whatever that looks like, I don't know, but if I could do that, or do what Downey did for me, then I would be so content swinging off into the sunset. So let's start with the first part, and then we'll go into the second part. How do you feel about what Feige says here about this being more of a Spidey movie than they've ever made?
I interpret that similar to how you and I already feel about the sentiment of the Homecoming trilogy. Homecoming trilogy, guys, is really the origin of Spider-Man in a 3-movie arc. It's beautifully well done. Yeah. Yes. And I can't wait till we get to those retrospectives because we got high praise from all 3 of those movies, to be honest. So We want him depressed. We want him lonely.
Yeah.
We want Spider-Man to be sitting at home, wallowing in self-pity, listening to the police scanner, because that's when he is his best as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to say that in a bad way. We don't want our superheroes depressed, but this is all part of Spider-Man's story, Peter Parker's story.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance your personal life with your superhero life? And he never in the comics was able to balance it. So it makes sense that this is how that's how I interpret this is, yes, I think this is the same level of how Peter Parker Spider-Man was for the Tobey Maguire trilogy, we are now going to get for the Tom Holland trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I interpret that. That doesn't mean he's not going to have a love interest. He's going to have one, but now he's going to be a young adult. He's going to be on his own. He doesn't have Aunt May. He doesn't have, Iron Man. He doesn't have even Happy to a degree. He doesn't have someone that he can be able to go to help him through these struggles and mentor him through. Now he is going to be the one that could potentially, and it's going to go into Tom's statement a little bit, pass on the mentorship to someone else. So he has to make these calls himself now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're going to get. And I am excited for that because that is the Spider-Man that I know. And anyone who reads the comics is the Spider-Man that you guys know. And I want to see what a young adult Spider-Man is going to be. So that's what I feel that he means by this. This is the authentic Spider-Man movie because we're done with the origin. Now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the present. What are we going to do? What is he going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. I think the trailers are misleading. I think a lot of what you see in those trailers are, once again, a more montagey. I think it's going to be in the movie as well.
Yep.
I don't think you're going to have a lot of Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that part of Spider-Man's DNA is that there is at least one person that knows who he is, and they're going to correct that. And I think Bruce Banner is the perfect one for that, being that he's also got a mutation. Now, I don't agree with the Hulk being part of that as much, but I do like Bruce Banner being a part of that. So that's a really weird line to tread, right?
Yeah.
I think we're going to find out that Bruce would rather not be the Hulk anymore, ever. And I think that's I think he's back to that thread line again, maybe. I don't know. They left us in She-Hulk with some weird stuff, so let's see what that all means.
Yeah, right.
If it means anything. That's what I mean.
This
Like,
will be a
what are
good
we
test
supposed to know?
Yeah.
This movie's going to tell us a lot because the trailers don't say this is just a Spider-Man movie. The trailers say this is a Spider-Man movie mixed with more of Remember These in the MCU, especially TV show stuff. So I'm kind of like, well, let's see what this movie's going to be. I trust Kevin. I think this is going to be more of Peter Parker's story.
Mm-hmm.
The parts of the trailer that make me think that the most are definitely like when you start seeing that he's going through mutation and all that. Mm-hmm. I do think this movie is going to be more centered on Peter. And we still might get elements of the MCU splattered out because it is, right? It's in the MCU. Yeah. So I believe, with everything you said, I think it's 100% going to be that we want this anyways. We need this to happen. I think it's going to be a good time. I can't wait. I just want to see this movie now. You know what I mean?
And to your one point there, I think this is a contractual thing when it comes to the Hulk. And this is what I mean, guys.
I agree.
I'm not saying this in a negative way because obviously they may have this contractual thing and then they make the best of it, and we've seen it time and time again they did. But one of the reasons for having Marvel Studios in control of Peter Parker in the MCU is Sony says and this is all, most of it is rumor, but it's also leaks online and industry insiders to say these are what's in the contracts to keep him there. So take it with a grain of salt if you want to, but I do find this to be very accurate, is that they want a heavy hitter from the MCU being in his movies. Is another way of not only keeping him in the world, but cementing a box office success. Mm-hmm. That's why you had Iron Man in the Homecoming, and you had Nick Fury in Far From Home, and you had Doctor Strange No Way Home, and that is the exact reason why you have the Hulk in Brand New Day.
Yeah. So I just always worry about the Hulk overshadowing him as a power character.
But that's
my issue.
Yeah. But the good news, I would say, to maybe ease your mind of that, and we haven't gone to those retrospectives yet. They're coming up fast, though. We're at Age of Ultron, guys. Is that they haven't so far. All three of those movies, they haven't. So I'm going to trust that process. It's the same creative team. Kevin Feige is personally doing this with Amy Pascal and their director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who did an amazing job at Shang-Chi. And it sounds like he was ready for this. So I'm gonna put that trust in it until I see the movie that maybe they did overshadow or not. But so far, they haven't proven me wrong. It's like the Russo brothers. You haven't proven me wrong so far. So let's
Yeah.
see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. You're right. The Hulk to me comes. The others make sense. The Hulk is one that is a tough one, but hey, if anyone's going to come up with a way to do it, these guys have so far done well.
Yeah.
So until I see different, I think it's we're okay. I think the only thing in this movie that ever has me kind of going, I don't know, is still the Jean Grey possibility.
I agree.
I really just wish this wasn't part of it.
That will, for me, guys, that will make or break this movie. Even if it's a great Spider-Man movie, if they're doing what I think they're gonna do with Jean Grey in this movie, you will
we're gonna
hear
have a
from
lot
me.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, Marvel.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So while we move on to the second part of this about how Tom says he's planning his way out, how do you feel about that and like what he's saying?
So I don't. This is my interpretation of that too. Again, I'm gonna be a little more optimistic right now, guys. I don't think planning his way out as in I want to leave the franchise like right away.
Right.
I think based on what he said is he wanted to be kind of like the Robert Downey Jr. version that Robert Downey Jr. was to him for the Homecoming trilogy. He wants to become the mentor instead of the mentee. So when the time is to pass the baton to a future Spider-Man, because let's face it, guys, even though Tom Holland's young and they're going to do Spider-Man every like 6 years, from my understanding, he's not going to be Spider-Man forever. And so and thankfully with Marvel Comics, there's many different types of Spider people.
Yep.
So, I think this is wise of him to say this, and I actually think this is going to give us a little bit more insight on what this next trilogy is going to be. So when I'm watching this next movie, this is the beginning of him learning more about who he is, which that's what it sounds like in the trailers, and then now being able to mentor the future versions of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man or girl. That's the part I'm going to get at. I liked when he was saying maybe Miles Morales. You know, he's throwing those names out there to get everyone talking. Spider-Gwen, which is a multiversal version of Gwen Stacy. We haven't even gotten Gwen Stacy herself in the MCU, so hold your horses on that, guys. But the Spider-Woman part, I'll be very honest. This is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the whole Sony deal getting Spider-Man and his adjacent characters. Spider-Woman. There are a couple different people in the comics that have taken on the Spider-Woman mantle, so to speak. So you could be referring to a completely different one here or there, depending on who you talk to. But the biggest Spider-Woman character in the comics that everyone knows, hands down, is Jessica Drew. She is not related to Spider-Man whatsoever. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves, why she got in the mix of the Spider-Man deal when she is strictly an Avengers character. So I don't know if there is a legal loophole to that because she hasn't been in Spider-Man comics. That's the thing. And maybe she's guest appeared. So I don't take that with a grain of salt. Maybe she has from time to time crossed paths. But her origin has nothing to do with Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Interesting.
Just in name only, she is Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Her powers come from something completely different than Spider-Man. She was actually part of Hydra for a while, which is not Spider-Man, not even adjacent to Spider-Man. There's this whole and it gets me a little riled up because whenever I'm thinking about characters they haven't introduced yet, and She-Hulk was one of them until they now introduced her, there are some characters I can't wait to see them do live action, especially into the MCU. And because of this one little thing about Spider-Woman's film rights, I don't think we're ever going to get the one I like, Jessica Drew, in the MCU, unless there is that loophole and I'm not aware of it. And I've searched online to see, is this still true? Is this accurate? All that stuff. Everything is still telling me that. And please, if you find something different, put it in the comments below. I will praise you to high heavens. I'll give you a shout out here in the podcast. That's how passionate I am for the Spider-Woman character, because I do really like her. And I think she has a great story and a great background. But it bugs the crap out of me that they've linked her with Spider-Man for the contractual stuff for the film rights, yet she has nothing to do with him in the comics. Therefore, there's a great character you can never put into the MCU because of something stupid like that. So when Spider-Man went to Sony, they made all his adjacent characters. So of course, like Mary Jane, Black Cat, Sandman, Electro. You think of Green Goblin. You think of J. Jonah Jameson. Everyone you could think of that's related and adjacent to Spider-Man. It was like over 100 plus characters that they threw at because this is Sony is getting Spider-Man and his catalog. Spider-Woman, in name only because it says Spider-Woman, was thrown into the mix. I don't know if it was written down as part of the characters or what. Jessica Drew, the name is not. But because of how they did it, and this is from what I found out online, so again, please correct me if I'm wrong, because of how they did it, MCU can use the name and the character Jessica Drew because she wasn't explicitly said, but she can never use her superhero character Spider-Woman, her alter ego, because of how it was done. And that bugs the crap out of me because if Marvel's going to introduce Jessica Drew as a big character, which she really is, she's kind of like a Jennifer Walters. She is a big character when you start diving into them a little bit. You could do it. The problem is you can never then call her Spider-Woman, and she is Spider-Woman. So it's like double-edged sword. You either can do her Justice League or do her Justice League.
Unless there's talks of contractual stuff happening.
That's one of the things I'm hoping is that something somewhere in the mix, kind of like how we found out recently with some of this other legal loopholes, and we're going to talk about it in the Age of Ultron thing when it came to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, how they were able to, because you can say that they were part of the Avengers, therefore there is, and we talked about this in the podcast, I think an episode or two ago, guys. There was a way where you can still have them there and they still could be used elsewhere. If they can do that with this character, then what are you waiting for, Marvel? I want to see a Spider-Woman, if not movie, at least involved in the Avengers moving forward because she is a great character and she's underutilized because you're not using her. But that's my pet peeve. I had to get that off my chest. And hopefully in our podcast, when they give the grand announcement at the San Diego Comic-Con that we have coming down the pike Spider-Woman, I'll be like, oh my gosh, guys, you're going to hear it from me. But I highly doubt because of all that crap that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm done.
So I feel similar with you. I don't think this is a big deal, guys, about him saying, I think I really do think it's kind of like a shock grab. Holland's looking for his way out. Get out of here, guys. By the time he's gone, he's going to have 6 Spider-Man solo movies probably. And that's not to mention anything he's shown up in on top of it. So, I think Tom has got himself, Mr. Holland here, has got himself in a good old spot that I'd like to call the Hugh Jackman. And why I call it that is because we could sit and debate all day and all night about who the best Spider-Man is or who your favorite one is. And we all like Toby. We all like Andrew. I think they both did a great job. I think there's wins and loses for all that stuff. But I think there's no question that they got it right with Tom Holland. And being able to start with him in, basically middle school, high school, to now here he is, a young adult. We're growing up with him and growing up with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I do think that this is a new trilogy. I don't think that they've really come out and made sure and said that for sure. But I do think that this is a new trilogy. And I also think that this is the beginning of the end of his story, of where they're going to want to arc it, at least. But I think we're going to see him come back as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, until he's 90.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to have his solo movies anymore. I think it's going to be the same thing. I don't think Tom is going to be the kind of guy that, hey, when he's in his 40s and he's doing some movies and it's not quite hitting the way it does, or he just has that itch of, man, I'm still in good shape. I could still do that. They're going to have a story where they're going to be like, hey, come on in and play old Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to have a problem with it.
To Tom's point there, I think he's going to be similar to how Robert Downey Jr. was
100%.
after Iron Man 3.
100%.
Because we're going to get into, this is Iron Man's first appearance since Iron Man 3 in Avengers Age of Ultron that we're going to talk about today, guys. And he's not done yet. He has a whole phase that he's still going to be part of the MCU, like the Spider-Man movie later on, the other Avengers movies. Tom is going to take on similar to an RDJ type of a role after his trilogies are done and he says, I'm done with the solo career part. I'll appear in the future Spider-Man films as needed, or the Avengers films is where you're most likely going to see him. Maybe mentor the young Avengers, something like that. You're going to still see him, but you're not probably going to see him as much as you are now.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. But that's okay, because
that's great.
We're fine with that.
That's fine. Yeah.
And I personally, if it were me, I think we should go the Miles Morales direction. mean, I know I don't want to get into the contract discussion because Sammy's a little more knowledgeable on that. But let's just say, in the perfect world, you could pick whoever you wanted. No offense, I'm not saying that the woman version of these characters are bad, but actually would prefer to dive into him being a mentor to a young Miles. I think would be more interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, no offense to the women characters, but how they've written those women characters as their side characters. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. They're great at what they are.
Yeah.
So no disrespect at
I
all.
just think we're ready for a Miles Morales live action, really good. I
And
think I
yeah.
think Sony's gonna run that Spider-Verse thing they got right until they can't run it no more,
Mhm.
and then their fix to that is gonna be, well, Marvel, you wanna make another deal? And I think that Tom would be a great one to, mentor a kid,
Yeah.
in moving forward,
I think that
personally. I mean, I'm not
yeah.
saying Spider-Woman wouldn't be bad, or
Yeah.
even a Spider-Gwen if they do it right when it's this trilogy, but I would rather see a Miles. I think that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So,
exactly, and I think that, from my understanding from when it comes to the contract stuff, guys, and like I said, this isn't all public, it's just insider
yeah.
traders or insider information type thing about this, but, Sony has looked at Marvel and said, "Get your hands off Miles Morales. You can't have him until we're done with the Spider-Verse."
Yeah, and
I
they will ruin it eventually. It's
I
Sony.
yeah,
So just give it some time.
I won't be surprised as after this Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out that everyone is hoping and anticipating for, that's when Sony's gonna give Marvel the green light to use your live version of Miles Morales because they're gonna need to keep that character going. He is a moneymaker for them, obviously, so they're
Yeah.
not gonna say no to introducing him into the MCU, which is guaranteed money for
I was gonna
them.
say it in the long run, they can't be too stingy because they're win-win when it comes if they give it to Marvel when he's the most popular, then he's gonna be even more popular, then Sony's just gonna be,
Yeah,
they're just gonna sit back while other people do their work.
yeah,
No
yeah.
offense, Sony, but sorry.
And when it comes to Spider-Woman, I can't wait till that day is announced,
Mm.
guys.
Yeah,
So
it might that
please
still might be part of it too. Who knows?
she might already be back at Marvel, it's just that right now they're at a pause with some of their stuff as they're
Maybe
doing the
that's who
reboot.
Sadie Sink is. But I'd rather it be that than Jean Grey.
If I had
I'd
to
say it's too early for Spider-Woman, but not the character.
no.
We don't need Spider-Woman yet, but we could have whoever becomes Spider-Woman. That could be her. Wouldn't that be interesting?
If I had to pick the lesser of two evils, that's the one I would do. I
Alright.
still don't think it would be a great choice for Sadie Sink as Jessica Drew, but I will take that over the Jean Grey thing for right
Yeah.
now. So that's how I feel about that, guys. And
Yeah.
maybe Sadie Sink's gonna prove me wrong if she could play a Jessica Drew. Maybe she could do that. I'm not saying she's a bad actress. Jessica Drew,
Yeah.
it gets a little more personal for me because of how much I do like her in the comics.
I think
So
Sadie Sink could play either of these characters. I just when we want the characters is what my problem is. I have no problem with her being Jean Grey either. It's
mhm,
just, do I want it in Spider-Man?
mhm,
And what makes sense to me, And I'm not as attached to the Spider-Woman character as you are, so I could see her doing that too, but
yeah.
I can see why. There's things that I understand.
There's one, and I don't think they're ever gonna do this for the movies. Even if they did have the rights to Spider-Woman, they were gonna do stuff with her. There's one comic line I'll never forget. This is my favorite of Spider-Woman, and she's pregnant throughout the whole thing. Like,
Oh,
she's
boy.
ready to pop, and she's still doing stuff, and it's really cool to see how they interact. And then
Yeah.
in the midst of the comic, she's having contractions while she's still doing her blasts and flying, and it's part of me is like, it's kind of funny, but she's still badass. So
Yeah, that's
part
cool.
of me is like, if they ever do that, I would be like, holy smokes, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee them actually doing
Yeah.
that. Anyways, guys, questions for you. What do you think of the Spider-Man stuff that's released? I believe, what was the magazine called? Empire?
Empire, yes.
The Spider-Man stuff released in the Empire magazine. What do you think of Tom Holland's comments? What do you think of Kevin Feige's comments? And please tell me in the comments below what you think of Spider-Woman, if she's there or not.
Yeah.
I just want to know personally. Let us know in the comments below. All right. I'll just say our last thing on our news segment right now. We got 2 trailers, guys, within this past week.
Mhm.
One is Marvel MCU adjacent, so to speak. It's Marvel Animation. X-Men 97 Season 2 finally has its first official trailer released online. It's not the leaked version you're seeing anymore. It's official trailer now. And also DC released their final Supergirl trailer.
Mhm.
So which one do we want to tackle first? Do you want to do DC to get out of the way, or do you
Yeah,
want to
let's get DC out of the way because it's
'Cause
pretty brief for me.
it's brief for me too. There's not too actually both of these are kind of brief for me. It's not too much to talk about, but I have more to talk about with 97 than I do with Supergirl. So, um her movie heads into theaters at the end of June, so this is their final marketing push. And I will say personally for me, of all the trailers they've released so far, this is my favorite.
This is the best one.
Yes.
But it has not made me more excited.
No. And
I could care less about this character still. But that's in all full disclosure, though, guys. This is my least favorite superhero characters are the Superman stuff.
Mhm.
Even the Superman villains. I don't know why, guys. I wish I had a better reason because I know he's so iconic, and it's such a big deal. But I just never cared for Superman, and
Mm.
it never spoke to me. I like him in the mix of other DC stuff, but even then, I gotta be completely honest with you. It's like, boy, if he wasn't there, might be better. I don't know.
What I'm most curious for this movie in particular to see is how is James Gunn handling the the s the origins of these characters more so,
Well, he's
because
not the director of this movie,
he's not, but he is the head of
right?
DC
Right. So he's got a lot of
and
say. You're right.
yeah,
Right.
so one of the things I know we talked about Superman before a little bit, and I'm not gonna dive too much into this, but that is a change from his origin that his parents sent him down here to take over the world as opposed
Yeah.
to the other stuff. So now it makes me wonder for Kara,
Yeah.
for Supergirl, how much of her origin has changed, like Superman's origin has changed.
Yeah, I bet there's a little. And I hope it is. I'm gonna watch this with the hopes that it's a good movie, because like I said, I watched the new Superman movie, and it's not a bad movie. It's just not a movie for me. And I think this one's gonna give you more of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe,
It looks like it, at least,
and
yeah.
I might be a little okay with that because the more Superman on Earth, the more he bothers me. So, like, if we're gonna take the story elsewhere, then I could actually might be a little more down to just live it through her eyes in different places. So,
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm a little more excited. You know, I'll be honest with you. Until we get a bigger picture, I'm in with James Gunn. I'm not knocking it yet. This movie might not be for me, but I hope it's a hit.
Mhm.
It looks fun. I see Corn Sweat's in there. We get to see a little Superman, anyways, and I think he's a good Superman. I think he's a great actor.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's a good actor.
I just don't care about, I just want Batman. I could take 3 different Batman a year. I'd be happy. I know people say
Right.
there's too much Batman. No, there's never too much
There's
Batman.
never too much Batman.
Give me a Pattinson. Give me the Ben Affleck one that we always wanted. Give me this new one that he's doing here. And you know what? Just throw in another one. Because like, why not? I don't care. I could watch a Batman story any day, all day. None are going to be as good as Nolan's. Sorry, y'all. I know there's a lot of hot takes out there, but you're just wrong. And I just think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, when I start seeing, when we do get the next bigger step up, like I think Lanterns will be interesting to see what that's going to be.
Mhm.
Surprised it's not a movie, but I'm not at the same time because maybe this is the best way to approach it. So who knows? But I'll be honest with you, my anticipation for how well the DC is going to be is definitely going to hinge on what their Batman's going to be like.
Mhm.
And I hope he's a little more fun and fantastical like the cartoon was back in the day, to be honest with you, because we need that flavor back. I would argue that Shoemaker tried to do the best he could with that, with those other two. So when people crap on Val Kilmer and they crap on George Clooney,
Mhm.
if we were going to have a good debate, I can sit here and debate with you that those movies are actually made perfectly.
Mhm.
Say they're good or bad or not, but if you look at for what they are and what he was trying to do, he nailed it. If you want Batman, old school, like comic book, bam, pow, wow, then you got
That's
2
true,
movies. That's
actually.
exactly what they are.
That's true.
It's exactly what they are. You know what I mean? But does that mean that it was what everybody wanted? No, I would argue, but the worst Batman movie, it was Tim Burton's. Maybe not the first one because it was so iconic in its own way,
But
but that
Returns
second one is just not good. Like, I don't know,
with the
guys. Like,
Penguin.
yeah, it's not that very good. It's really not that good. And Tim Burton, he puts a couple squiggly trees and some weird characters, and it's his. It's like it makes no sense. Anyways, I would argue that that's what I would argue. But yeah, beside the point, see, that's how much I don't care about. Not that I don't care. I'll watch this movie, guys, but it's just Superman. I like that the suit thing is coming involved. I like that it's about the dog. I think that's a good way to go. We need to make the stakes crazy high and weird. So yeah, trailers, it's good. It's the best one, but I'm just going to see this because, like, I'm not, you know, It might be on its way out of the theaters by the time I catch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last thing was the X-Men 97 trailer, that came out. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah. Uh, I I haven't been watching cartoons for a very long time, but because of the X-Men 97, this last one that they did, I watched that, and it was awesome because it reminded me of the old cartoons.
Mhm.
And I love this new trailer. It looks great. It looks like a lot of fun. Cyclops looks awesome. I just like every time I see him on there, I'm like, yes, this is more Cyclops. Like because they've done a real good job with him. I think Apocalypse are getting dead on. I think they're kind of veering away. I like in the trailer. I feel like he's not going to be as bombastically crazy as he used to be in the
Which
old
is
stuff.
good.
It looks like he's going to be he's going to look like the old Apocalypse, but it looks like he's going to be a little more like down, like a little more brought down to a level of you can understand this guy and he's not just like he's actually going to be menacing and make sense.
He's
And
gonna be the Oscar Isaac version, which
yeah, I don't know if they'll ever go that good with it, but like it's closer though,
it
right?
is good. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it does look
yeah.
good, and I'm
I get it.
interested. I'll watch this because it just gives you all the good feels of nostalgia and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff, and Storm looks awesome. I mean, it looks good. I like the time travel aspect that's gonna be
Mhm.
going on in this. It could be a lot of fun to see what happens.
Yeah. So
Great trailer, by the way.
it is a good trailer. I am anticipating it. I think it's gonna be fun. I have mixed feelings about the first season of 97, personally.
Yeah.
There are things I like, there are things I do not like. And
Mm.
it's how do I say this, guys? Because I've been thinking about a way to say it because I figured this is the best time to give my
Ooh.
thoughts on the first season and heading into the second season and see how they do it.
Let's not get canceled on episode 12.
Um, my favorite character from the animated show back in the 90s was Rogue. I love the voice actress. I had the pleasure of meeting her, and she's very sweet in person. So any time that she's going to be at a convention, I can't wait to go and just say hi again. I've met her twice because of it. So good. I did not like her story arc in 97,
Okay.
particularly for one thing. I was thinking about what's the nicest way to say this. If you heard me in the car earlier today when I was thinking about this, guys, you would have been like, oh boy, what the heck? But I'll say it. They took one of the weirdest relationships that was very niche, and was meant to be niche because the fans did not like it and didn't continue it forward, and they brought it into X-Men 97, and I felt kind of grossed out throughout the whole thing, her and Magneto. It kind of came out of left field.
It is weird.
That was in the Age of Apocalypse comics, which was an offshoot on what if Apocalypse took over and all this stuff. And they had some cool features in it. But one of the features that was not so cool was Rogue and Magneto were physically romantically involved. And they decided to bring it into this medium. And as a cartoon show, it just was, it was weird. I thought less of the character Rogue in it. And I didn't like, I feel like the person to blame for that, he's not involved anymore. He is a great writer. I'm not going to say he wasn't.
Oh, yeah, I know what
But he's had some scandals. That's why he's not there, guys. And I think this is a little perverted, and I see why this stuff what could have been going on behind the scenes, honestly. Because that was really weird. I liked parts of the best episode. I think that they have all been saying is the Remember It episode with the Genosha massacre and all that stuff. Really well written, but every part of the Rogue Magneto thing, I did not like. To my core, I did not.
Yeah,
like.
I'm with you. I didn't either.
So yeah,
I just don't take it as personal because it's cartoon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so I
but
try
also,
not to get too.
At the same time,
It is the characters we know, though.
yeah, in my perspective, we grew up on these guys.
Yeah.
So when you think of them, you think, oh, that's what fond memories and all that. And they're trying to bring them back and revisit them and bring them into the new age and all that. And, back then in the 90s, when we watched it with our parents, they were fun and our parents felt okay to watch them with us. If I had a kid, I wouldn't have watched the X-Men 97 season 1 with it because there were things in there that I'm like, he should not be seeing that. My child should not be seeing that episode of what happened between Rogue and Magneto that made complete no sense in continuity for the original series. By the way, guys,
Magneto's a love interest too, just weird.
It was
it's just weird.
That's why I say
the only time it worked was Fassbender and Lawrence, and just because they're.
But
80s.
Even then, that was okay.
Yeah, right.
That's why I used the word perverted. It was very weird, out of left field. We're gonna do this, and it was gross. Every scene of them together in that whole first season was gross, and I pray they don't even talk about it in this next season onward, because that'll make me feel better.
See, I like Rogue with Gambit.
Rogue and Gambit, great.
Because he loved her, man. He was just like...
He did, and she loves him, and even in the comics, they're a power couple. They're great together. So I can't wait for the live-action adaptation of that. But anyways,
even in our stories that we come up with for X-Men, we eventually got them.
We got them together because they're meant to be together. So I hate the Magneto twist in it.
Yeah, anyways, it is. I'll give you that. It's strange.
It is strange. And also, I'm a fan of the Inferno series on the X-Men comics.
Yeah.
And given what we know of the animated show for X-Men, when they did the Phoenix Saga, they split it up into 4 to 5 parts. And then the Dark Phoenix Saga is 4 to 5 parts. But yet for the Inferno Saga, they did 1 episode. This easily could have been half of a season of how the psychological part of Jean Grey not being Jean Grey and who has the baby, how long is it? Yeah. And I hate that they left this still on this cliffhanger, because it's making me not like Jean Grey and not looking forward to her in season 2. When Sinister switched them out, because they never got a resolve to that, and they should be at least by the end of season 1. If not the end of that episode, because they did the whole thing so darn fast, I didn't like that. Well, they made the best of it for 1 episode, and I did like the episode. The problem is this easily could have been a 3-parter, and they didn't do it. So that I had a pet peeve on that. As a personal thing, though, guys. But for the longevity thing, I don't know what we're going to be getting in season 2 when it comes to Jean Grey as the character, because they've made it so convoluted that we don't know who actually became the Phoenix. That's literally what they said at the end of that episode, is who was actually the Phoenix. We don't know. What do you mean you don't know? That's like one of the biggest freaking things of the whole original show. You don't know? Was this Madeline? Was this Jean? Was Jean literally a nothing? The woman who keeps fainting every episode? Oh my gosh! Every episode, you kept fainting. Oh, who was that? Who was that? We don't know. So now we're going to season 2, and every time I see the things of like Cyclops and Jean, and Jean's doing like the little Wolverine telekinesis thing.
My goodness.
Who are you? I know now you're Jean Grey, but were you really in love with Logan? Or was that Madeline Pryor this whole time? When was the switch? Who the heck knows? I don't know. Was their marriage even valid? When was that switched? Who knows? I don't like this. And I don't see they're going to address this, and maybe they are going to. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. If we get through the end of season 2 and they've never addressed when that switch happened, I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs. What the heck are you doing? You should have never touched it again.
What's he going to do when he starts finding out half the people in the MCU are Skrulls and we don't know when they were switched?
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine?
Well, that's still a lingering question. When was Rhodey switched from Secret Invasion?
I hate that so much.
What the heck?
I hate it so much.
When?
I hate it.
Oh, anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think of the trailers for Supergirl and X-Men 97 Season 2? Are you as passionate?
Oh, it looks good.
Please let us know in the comments below, guys. I tell you what, I really wish they did a revival of the X-Men Evolution show, because I do like that over the animated show.
I haven't watched any of it, but I bet it's fun.
It's so good. But now, seeing what they're doing with this, maybe they should just leave it be. So let us know in the comments below, guys. All right, that's going to wrap up our Multiverse Minute.
That's right.
We're moving on to our Rumor Mill Rundown.